Imagine waking up every single day with an unwavering clarity of purpose, mind untouched by setbacks, immune to the chaos of the world, and fiercely locked in on what genuinely matters. It may sound almost superhuman, doesn't it? Yet, this was the lived experience of Marcus Aurelius, one of the most powerful figures of ancient history, a Roman emperor and a profound Stoic philosopher. His private reflections, preserved through the centuries, aren't just relics of a distant past, but rather strikingly relevant instructions on mastering self-discipline amidst the overwhelming distractions of modern life. Today, we delve deep into the essence of Stoicism, not treating it as abstract theory, but as a collection of practical strategies to cultivate a more disciplined, purpose-driven life. Stoicism empowers us to turn adversity into an advantage, to convert emotional chaos into inner calm, and to reshape life's unpredictable nature into a reservoir of strength. Whether you're grappling with everyday stress, yearning for deeper peace, or aiming to heighten your productivity, the Stoic way offers profound guidance. In a world overloaded with temptations and noise, this philosophy roots us in the timeless values of wisdom, courage, justice, and moderation. Stoicism is not merely about enduring life, it's about rising through it resiliently and with meaning. So, if you're ready to radically shift how you interpret and handle life's challenges, stay with us as we explore the transformative wisdom of Marcus Aurelius and how his philosophy can help you construct a strong, self-disciplined existence. Today, as we journey through these Stoic teachings, if you find value in what we're doing here, I humbly ask you to subscribe. It's a small gesture with a big impact. Also, don't skip a moment of this video, because if you've made it this far, you're already distinct from the crowd. You're part of the rare few searching for true depth. At the center of Aurelius's philosophy lies the idea that self-discipline begins with discovering your purpose. But what does that really mean? It means identifying what genuinely matters to you, what fuels your spirit, and syncing your daily behaviors with that deeper mission. Marcus wrote frequently about living in accordance with nature, which, in Stoic terms, means comprehending your role in the broader universe and acting in alignment with your core virtues. For him, purpose wasn't some grand aspiration, it was a practical compass that steered his smallest decisions to his greatest responsibilities. He believed knowing your purpose is what propels you out of bed, what anchors you when distractions tempt you to veer off course. And it isn't measured by fame or fortune, but by fulfilling life's tasks with honor and dedication. In today's world, with its endless distractions and pressures, finding purpose can feel daunting, but this is precisely where Stoic teachings become indispensable. They help strip away shallow wants and emotional noise to reveal what truly sustains our well-being and growth. Stoicism urges us to ask, what truly deserves my time and energy? And how can today's actions support my growth and serve the world? As you reflect on these questions, consider what naturally pulls your interest, where you feel fulfilled, or which problems you feel compelled to solve. These are indicators of your purpose. Once uncovered, the Stoic practice of daily reflection becomes crucial. It allows you to keep aligning your actions with your mission, saying no to what's meaningless and yes to what truly matters. This cultivates the self-discipline needed to live a life that's not just successful, but also deeply meaningful. Each morning, ask yourself, what am I meant to do today? And each night, did I live in alignment with my purpose? Over time, this will not only sharpen your discipline, but reshape your entire life into one of authenticity and fulfillment. When Marcus Aurelius wrote about self-discipline, he often emphasized the idea of relying on oneself. To count on yourself in Stoic terms isn't about being alone or rejecting help, it's about accepting full responsibility for your choices, reactions, and growth. Stoicism centers on the principle of focusing only on what's within our control, and Aurelius consistently highlighted the strength that comes from the self. By trusting in ourselves, we unlock inner resilience, the capacity to face life's uncertainties with courage and competence. It's not about arrogance, but about building quiet confidence through responsibility, reflection, and unwavering action, and a thorough understanding of one's own capacities and virtues. This is the essence of true self-reliance, a concept that is both liberating and daunting, especially in today's hyper-connected world where advice, opinions, and validation are constantly available at our fingertips. Learning to hear and trust our inner voice amidst this noise can feel almost impossible. Yet Stoicism calls us to do exactly that, to filter out external chaos and trust in the guidance of our own reasoned judgment. Marcus Aurelius believed that this inner counsel, rooted in virtue and reason, was the most trustworthy guide available to us. When we learn to count on ourselves, we cultivate a powerful autonomy, one that allows us to make decisions based on our values and principles rather than fleeting emotions or external pressures. This autonomy is not merely a preference. It is essential for preserving our personal integrity and living authentically. So how do we begin to truly rely on ourselves? It starts small, making and keeping promises to ourselves, setting personal goals and pursuing them with discipline, and regularly reflecting on our choices to ensure they align with our deeper values. Over time, these simple yet profound practices build resilience and inner strength. Marcus Aurelius continually emphasized the value of persistence, not dramatic bursts of effort, but the quiet, steady dedication to showing up every single day in both body and spirit. To him, this daily presence was the Stoic interpretation of living in accordance with nature, not just passively existing, but actively engaging with life through meaningful action, no matter how mundane it may seem. Every day was a new opportunity to reaffirm one's values, to perform one's duties, and to prove one's character not through extraordinary events, but through ordinary consistency. In a modern age overflowing with distractions and wavering motivation, this Stoic ideal becomes even more critical. It's easy to feel motivated today and completely aimless tomorrow, but Stoicism reminds us that the secret to self-discipline lies not in bursts of intensity, but in the regularity of effort. This doesn't mean turning every day into a productivity contest. It means refusing to let a day go by without some form of purposeful engagement, whether in your work, your relationships, or your personal development. True progress, whether in career, health, or character, is the result of simply showing up. And showing up every day is inherently tied to the Stoic practice of mindfulness, being present in the now, focusing on today's task without being weighed down by yesterday's failures or tomorrow's uncertainties. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the power of attention and presence, about doing what is in front of you to the best of your ability. This presence turns mundane repetition into meaningful ritual, transforming daily effort into personal growth. To develop this kind of discipline, start small. Define what showing up means for you. It might be writing one paragraph of the book you've delayed, doing 5 minutes of movement, or giving undivided attention to someone you love. It's not the scale that changes you, it's the act. Every day you follow through, you reinforce your self-discipline and grow your resilience, aligning yourself with the core Stoic belief in personal responsibility and the constant pursuit of self-improvement. In doing so, you become living proof that while we cannot control outcomes, we always control our efforts, and in that control lies our power. This Stoic principle, as advocated by Marcus Aurelius, is not about romanticizing struggle or making life unnecessarily hard. It's about preparing ourselves for life's inevitable hardships, strengthening our inner defenses, and cultivating deep appreciation for what we have. Like many Stoics, Aurelius believed that choosing discomfort, voluntarily denying ourselves certain luxuries, embracing physical exertion, or making difficult but principled choices prepares the mind to handle the discomforts that life may impose. The reasoning is simple. If you're used to hardship, unexpected adversity won't catch you off guard. It's like training the mind's resilient muscle, ensuring that in times of crisis, your foundation remains steady. But why choose discomfort in a world obsessed with comfort? Because at the heart of Stoicism lies the understanding that true growth begins where comfort ends. By voluntarily stepping outside our ease, we don't punish ourselves, we liberate ourselves. We redefine comfort not as a right but as a privilege, and in doing so, we learn to endure, adapt, and flourish even when life becomes uncertain or painful. That we can do without if we choose. In practicing voluntary hardship, we also awaken a deeper sense of gratitude. The everyday comforts we so often take for granted begin to take on new meaning when we choose, even briefly, to go without them. It could be something as small as skipping a meal, which makes us more mindful and appreciative of the food we normally consume, or walking instead of driving, which can spark gratitude for the health and mobility we possess. More than just deepening our personal appreciation, voluntary discomfort helps us connect with those who face such hardships, not by choice, but by necessity. This connection fosters empathy, humility, and a stronger grasp of our shared humanity, anchoring us in the real, often harsh world beyond our personal bubbles. To integrate this into modern life, the key is to begin small and stay intentional. Wake up an hour earlier, limit screen time for a day, or choose stairs over the elevator. The significance doesn't lie in how extreme the discomfort is, but in the discipline and purpose behind it. Each act of voluntary hardship strengthens our mental resolve and builds self-discipline key virtues in the Stoic toolkit. Stoicism also brings us to a transformative principle, the distinction between what is and isn't in our control. Though deceptively simple, This idea can radically reshape how we approach life's challenges, allowing us to release unnecessary anxiety and develop a calm, resilient mindset. So what exactly falls within our control? According to Stoic thought, it's our own actions, thoughts, judgments, and responses, our internal world. The external world, whether other people's choices, political events, lies beyond our influence. Marcus Aurelius emphasized this repeatedly in his meditations, reminding us that to be disturbed by things we cannot control is not only useless, but damaging to our peace of mind. Practicing the dichotomy of control begins with internalizing this fact. We may influence outcomes, but we cannot dictate them. By choosing to invest our energy into our own responses rather than obsessing over external results, we regain our composure and increase our effectiveness. This doesn't mean becoming apathetic or detached from the world. It means engaging it on wiser terms, placing our energy where it truly matters. In daily life, this means regularly asking, is this within my control? If the answer is no, we let it go. This takes training, mindfulness, and constant reminders, but over time, it becomes a powerful habit that clears mental space and strengthens emotional resilience. It also reshapes how we pursue goals. Instead of measuring success by whether outcomes match our desires, something often outside our power, we begin to value effort, intention, and alignment with our values. Marcus Aurelius and his fellow Stoics never promised a painless life. They offered a philosophy to help us face pain, loss, and uncertainty with grace and resolve. By embodying this principle, we don't just benefit personally, we become steady, positive forces for those around us, modeling calm in chaos and persistence through adversity. At the heart of this Stoic idea lies a radical form of personal responsibility and the call to self-mastery. Instead of adopting a victim mindset where we see ourselves as powerless against life's storms, Stoicism urges us to focus on how we interpret and react to those storms. It doesn't ignore real pain or injustice, but it shifts our attention to the part of the equation we can control, our response. Marcus Aurelius believed that every external event presents a choice. How will we respond, and what will we let it make of us? By refusing to see ourselves as victims, we reclaim agency over our emotions and our destiny. This realization is profoundly liberating. It allows us to take full ownership of our inner lives. The process begins with self-awareness, noticing how we tend to react when things go wrong. Do we blame others, complain, or retreat into hopelessness? Or can we begin to channel that energy into understanding and action? It's not about suppressing emotion, but about learning to navigate it with wisdom. We acknowledge our hurt and disappointment, but we also recognize our capacity to grow, to adapt, and to move forward. In this way, Stoicism teaches that obstacles are not dead ends, but opportunities to act with courage, patience, honesty, and resilience. When we reframe life's hardships as training grounds for virtue, we move from a reactive existence to a proactive one, stronger, wiser, and more equipped to lead ourselves and others through the unpredictable flow of life. It transforms potential feelings of helplessness into moments of choice, moments where we can assert our agency and remind ourselves that no matter the external circumstances, our internal response is always within our control. Each challenge then becomes a proving ground, a test of our loyalty to our values, and an invitation to display the resilience, perseverance, and fortitude that define the Stoic ideal. By refusing to adopt the role of a victim, we embody the Stoic commitment to emotional independence, constructing within ourselves an inner fortress of calm and equanimity from which we can face the world with clarity and strength. This does not mean we become cold or emotionally detached, but rather that we cultivate a state in which our peace and happiness are not so easily disturbed by life's inevitable fluctuations. In this way, we cease to live at the mercy of external events and begin to live in alignment with our highest principles, regardless of what life hurls our way. Marcus Aurelius advocated for this not merely as a matter of personal virtue, but as a road to deeper freedom and fulfillment. From a Stoic perspective, mastering our impulses through the practice of delayed gratification is not about denying ourselves joy, but about achieving a more meaningful and enduring kind of joy that is rooted in reason, virtue, and long-term vision. Delayed gratification involves choosing the harder right over the easier, postponing immediate pleasures for the sake of greater rewards that support our well-being and personal development. This idea is particularly vital in today's age of instant gratification, where the ability to wait, to pause, and to sacrifice now for later is both rare and powerful. For Stoics like Aurelius, the discipline to delay gratification was an essential act of self-governance. He believed that those who were led by desires become slaves to them, surrendering their freedom to every whim and craving. By exercising restraint and making deliberate choices, we develop mastery over ourselves and cultivate a life of sustained tranquility. Putting this into practice begins with small, intentional acts, saving money rather than spending impulsively, choosing nourishing food over momentary cravings, dedicating time to learning or creating instead of succumbing to distractions. These small acts of self-discipline ripple outward, reinforcing the Stoic habit of prioritizing what matters most over what feels good in the moment. And this isn't just philosophical. The benefits are supported by modern psychology, which links delayed gratification to higher achievement, healthier habits, and greater emotional well-being. Beyond simply resisting temptation, this practice builds resilience, mental toughness that allows us to remain focused on our purpose even in the face of criticism, doubt, or discouragement. Stoicism reminds us that the approval or disapproval of others lies beyond our control and therefore should not dictate our self-worth or direction. Marcus Aurelius consistently urged himself to care only for what was within his command, his actions, his character, and his judgments, and to be unmoved by the fleeting opinions of others. This isn't about arrogance or isolation. It's about cultivating a solid internal compass, a quiet confidence that comes from knowing who you are and what you stand for. In today's hyper-opinionated digital culture, this ability to filter out noise is invaluable. The Stoic learns to assess criticism. Is it informed? Is it constructive? Does it align with my values? If not, it is discarded, not out of spite, but out of wisdom. This discernment strengthens our internal foundation, making us less reactive and more resolute. Ignoring baseless negativity becomes an act of protecting our focus, our purpose, and our emotional energy. In doing so, we escape the exhausting cycle of seeking validation and step into a more authentic and autonomous way of living. Practicing this principle also means developing a personal philosophy so resilient that external judgments no longer dictate our emotional state. This is what Marcus Aurelius did not just as an emperor, but as a human being striving for virtue amid complexity. In building this kind of internal strength, we gain the power to influence others, not by seeking approval, but by modeling calm conviction in the face of resistance. In a society often driven by applause and affirmation, the Stoic path calls us back to inner clarity and long-term vision. Embracing this practice means choosing where and how we invest our attention and energy, refusing to let the noise of the crowd drown out the quiet wisdom of our own reason. Ultimately, this approach reflects the Stoic belief that true learning and growth come not just from personal experience, but from studying and embodying the virtues modeled by those who lived with purpose, clarity, and disciplined virtues. We, too, can cultivate through thoughtful reflection and deliberate action. Emulating wise individuals isn't about blindly copying their actions, but rather about learning from their example to enrich and sharpen our own character and judgment. Marcus Aurelius, despite being a Roman emperor, frequently expressed deep admiration for the virtues he observed in others, both historical and contemporary. For him and for other Stoics, wisdom wasn't just theoretical or abstract. It was a practical tool for living well, best understood through the lives and actions of those who had demonstrated the Stoic virtues in real, often difficult circumstances. In the Stoic tradition, choosing whom to emulate is a deliberate and meaningful process. It's about identifying those who embody the core virtues of wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. These role models might be historical figures, people in your current life, or even fictional characters who display resilience, ethical consistency, and rational clarity in their choices. The goal is not mere admiration, but critical observation, attention to how these individuals navigate life, make decisions, and confront adversity, and asking ourselves, what can I take from their approach that will elevate my own conduct and decisions? This form of learning bridges the gap between lofty philosophical ideas and real-world behavior, making Stoic principles not only more tangible but more compelling, as we witness their transformative impact in the lives of people we respect. In a modern context, this practice becomes a powerful tool for personal development, pushing us to hold ourselves to higher standards and inspiring us to embody the very virtues we admire in others. By surrounding ourselves, mentally or physically, with the influence of virtuous individuals, we create an environment that nurtures excellence and commitment to growth. In time, we begin to internalize these examples, propelling ourselves closer to becoming the kind of wise, grounded person we once looked up to. Integral to this journey is the Stoic practice of daily self-reflection, discipline, that is not just about recounting the day's events, but about deeply examining one's thoughts, behaviors, and emotional responses. This reflective habit is central to Stoicism because it creates a feedback loop, enhancing our awareness of how closely our actions align with our values. The aim is not to dwell on shortcomings or indulge in self-criticism, but to observe honestly, learn constructively, and make deliberate improvements. Marcus Aurelius himself practiced this form of evening reflection as a way to measure not just his success as a leader, but his progress as a philosopher and a human being. Adopting this habit today can be profoundly transformative. At the end of each day, take a moment of quiet to ask yourself, how did I handle today's challenges? Did I live according to my principles? Were there moments when I lost control, and why? What could I do better tomorrow? Such questions help illuminate our daily patterns and offer practical insight into where growth is needed. This routine fosters peace of mind, allowing us to address unresolved emotions and close the day with clarity instead of carrying stress into tomorrow. In a world filled with noise and distraction, this simple pause reconnects us to our deeper purpose. Done consistently, it becomes a form of self-accountability that is both compassionate and rigorous, a process of becoming both student and teacher in your own life. Through this, we build resilience, refine our character, and slowly align our lives with the timeless ideals of Stoicism. Over time, these nightly reflections will begin to shape your days and your destiny, reinforcing a life lived deliberately and with virtue. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Stoicism and the enduring wisdom of Marcus Aurelius. Every day presents a new opportunity to master yourself and embody the virtues that define a meaningful life. If you're ready to continue your journey deeper, explore one of the recommended videos on your screen. Your presence strengthens our Stoic Journal community, and we're grateful to have you with us. Until next time, keep living intentionally, keep striving wisely, and never stop growing.